All right, hi everybody. Attorney Steve here, late night version, Sunday night. Okay, so I'm just relaxing for the evening and I get a little beep on my screen here. And what do we have? Emergency declaration. State of Arizona Office of the Governor Doug Ducey issues a curfew beginning tonight. Curfew at 8 p.m. So that has just passed. We're about 9 o'clock now. But here we have a declaration that authorizes a curfew and expanded National Guard mobilization. And so I'm just going to go over this real quick with you so you're aware of it, because usually you like to get a little notice on things, but this just came up today on really short notice. I'm not sure most people know about this, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this real quick. Governor Doug Ducey issued a statewide declaration of emergency, including putting into place a curfew starting at 8 p.m. tonight. The curfew is in effect from 8 p.m. until 5 in the morning. And so you can get up and go out and watch the birds at 6 o'clock in the morning, and shall expire on Monday, June 8th at 5 a.m. unless further extended. So we are now in Arizona under curfew. 8 o'clock, milk and cookies, get in your jammies. We have a curfew. So if you want to see this, I will post this in my video below. I will post the Spanish version as well. What do we have here? Let's just give this a read. At the request of local leaders, and I'm not sure who that is, and in coordination with state and local law enforcement, I'm issuing a statewide declaration of emergency and curfew starting at 8 p.m. tonight and effective for 1 week, said Governor Ducey. This gives law enforcement an additional tool to prevent the lawlessness we've seen here and in cities nationwide. Police will be equipped to make arrests of individuals who are planning to riot, loot, or cause damage and unrest. Today's declaration also authorizes an expanded National Guard mobilization to protect life and property throughout the state. That's good. Our office will continue to communicate with local law enforcement to provide whatever resources we can. Okay, so as you may know or may not know, there was some looting and things going on at the Scottsdale Mall. Some people said there were people they thought were shipped in or bussed in or whatnot, but here we have it. Now we have a declaration state of emergency. Whereas lawful assemblies are the lifeblood of our democracy based in the constitutional rights that we hold so dear. The right to peacefully assemble, as you know, is in the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, made applicable to the states through the 14th Amendment, whereas in the past week, individuals have engaged in legal and peaceful protests throughout the nation and the world, and whereas certain persons have engaged in riots resulting in assaults, vandalism, violence, and criminal damage, and whereas the violent disturbances and riots have continued and grown nationally and in Arizona, endangering additional lives and property. And whereas on May 28, 2020, a protest was held in downtown Phoenix. However, after ending, a number of those attending did not disturb and began to cause a civil disturbance and a riot, causing damage to police vehicles with officers in them, vandalizing government buildings and throwing rocks and other items at police. And whereas on May 29th, 2020, following a peaceful vigil, some participants again headed to downtown Phoenix where their demonstration escalated, resulting in additional vandalization and damage to government and private business buildings, fireworks being launched towards police, streets being blocked, and reporters being assaulted. Isn't this just great, folks? Whereas on May 29th, the downtown area of City of Tucson was also vandalized by persons who burned dumpsters, blocked streets, and destroyed property. And whereas on May 30th, 2020, protests continued in downtown Phoenix and downtown Tucson, resulting in additional damage to property, and looting occurred in downtown Scottsdale at multiple businesses in the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall and the surrounding area. And whereas the level of disturbances and danger to persons and property has continued to increase, with information suggesting that civil disturbances will expand to other areas of the state, Whereas to date, as the violence spreads, it is necessary to have a statewide response to maximize the resources of law enforcement and other government support services to ensure the safety of persons and property. And whereas the state understands its obligations to permit expressive activity, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner. If you've watched my videos, TPM, I call it. Restrictions necessitated by the existing public safety concerns for citizens, public safety employees, and protesters. And whereas the primary purposes of government is to protect its citizens, maintain order and balance, the rights of all individuals, and whereas due to these conditions and pursuant to the Arizona Revised Statutes, ARS 26-301, conditions of extreme peril to the safety of persons or property within the state caused by riot or other causes which are likely to be beyond the control of the services. This is not exciting news, which are likely to be beyond the control of the services, personnel, equipment, and facilities of any single county, city, or town, and which require the combined efforts of the state and the political subdivision, exist to support a declaration of emergency and, pursuant to ARS 26-303D as in dog, these circumstances necessitate a declaration of emergency. This is not painting a good picture here, folks. Therefore, I, Douglas A. Ducey, Governor of the State of Arizona, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of the state, including but not limited to ARS 26303, hereby order as follows. You ready? Declare that a state of emergency exists in Arizona due to riots effective Sunday. That's right now, May 31st, 2020, and continuing. It's in effect now. As part of the emergency, limited curfew is imposed for the entire state. The entire state. I hear already some counties are not going to follow it. From what I've read on the internet, I'm not going to name any county names, but I've heard so far of at least one area that is not going to comply with this, saying we don't really have any problems, we're not going to do this. But here you have it, a limited curfew beginning at 8 p.m. That's today, Sunday, May 31st. Curfew will be in place 8 a.m. till 5 a.m. and shall extend and expire on June 8th, 2020, unless further extended. Okay? Now, this means you must stay in at 8 o'clock, but there are exceptions. Let's take a look. If you're out, you better have one of these exceptions at the ready, okay? During the hours of curfew, all persons are prohibited from using, sitting, standing, traveling, or being present on any public street or in any public place, including for the purposes of travel, with the following exemptions. Okay, so let's take a look. All law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, good to go, or other medical personnel, National Guard, good to go, as well as any other emergency response personnel that are authorized by the state of Arizona, good to go. Credentialed members of the media. Now, I don't know if you're a blogger. You're going to have to find out. Do you need to get a credential through the governor's office? You're going to have to check on that. 2, another exemption, individuals traveling directly to and from work. Okay, so if you're going to and from work, attending religious services, very important. I'm going to church. What's going on? I'm going to church. Commercial trucking and delivery services. Obtaining food. I'm just going for a burger. Caring for a family member, friend, or animal. Patronizing or operating private businesses. Patronizing or operating private businesses. Well, I have a private law firm. Am I good to go? Seeking medical care. Going to the hospital, going to the doctors, or fleeing dangerous circumstances, and travel for any of the above services, okay? So there is your exemption. Here's your definition of a public place. Means any place, whether on privately or publicly owned property, accessible to the general public, including but not limited to public streets, roads, alleys, highways, driveways, sidewalks, parks, vacant lots, and unsupervised property. Travel includes without limitation travel on foot, bicycle, skateboard, scooter, motorcycle, automobile, or public transit, or any other mode of transporting a person from one location to another. Okay, here it is. What's the penalties? Violation, Class 1 misdemeanor pursuant to ARS 26-317 and is punishable by up to 6 months in jail. Can you believe that? And a fine of $2,500 in addition to any other violation. So there it is. Folks, there was also a part here, right here, authorized the adjutant, never even heard that word, adjutant general, to, they may have meant Attorney General, I don't know, to mobilize and call to activate all or such part of the Arizona National Guard as is determined necessary to assist in the protection of life and property throughout the state. So, holy cow, we are under curfew. I think other states may be joining in on this. This is getting a little bit hairy, a little bit crazy. Constitutional rights are on the balance. Emergency orders are creeping in, and now curfews in Arizona, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. curfew. Okay, so there you have it. I just wanted to make you aware. It's not always easy to find this stuff and to hear about it and read about it and see what's going on, but that's what's going on. I'm going to post a link here to it if you want to come back and take another look at it. But there it is. Be aware. Tell your friends. You don't want to, nobody wants a misdemeanor, and especially something like this just going outside, okay? So there you have it. Emergency declaration, attorneysteve.com. That's attorneysteve.com. Thanks for listening. Hope you like it. Subscribe, and we will be back this week with some great videos, including our famous litigation whiteboard. Have a pleasant evening. Stay safe. Stay in. Follow the rules. And take care, okay? Be nice out there.